Today, we're looking at what makes Portland, Oregon, the housing crisis epicenter of the United States. The Big Pink skyscraper building in downtown Portland just sold for a record low of $45 million cash, where it had been valued at nearly $400 million in 2015 last time it sold. But meanwhile, residential homes in the Portland area are taking off so that only 80% of the average income can afford the average home. What's creating this housing crisis disparity? Is it the record inflation? Is it the record low inventory? Is it greedy investors and developers taking up every opportunity that a first-time homebuyer has? Today, I'm going to tell you, as a local real estate agent that works with people relocating all the time, about what is creating this issue. We're going to do some deep research that no other realtor is talking about. You're going to want to stay tuned to the end. We're actually going to go talk now to one of the local developers to ask him what he thinks the main issue is and if he is part of this problem. Let's get going. So I'm here with Mike Nuss, who's a local Portland developer, and people are always blaming developers, large investors, for the housing crisis. So Mike, is it developers? Are they?
Absolutely, it's our fault. We can blame everything, put all the weight on our shoulders, and I'll take that blame.
But in Portland specifically, like, you are an investor, you are seeing a lot of homes come across your table on a daily basis. Do you actually see the housing shortage coming from people buying and selling homes, flipping them, making them nicer?
There's a lot of reasons to the affordability side of it. So part of it is housing shortage. You think of it this way, like if you look at the coastal markets, we're in an area where people want to live. And not only are we in an area where people want to live, we're in an area where people make good incomes for living here. And so housing gets filtered through the upper level incomes. And so if we don't have enough housing for the richest of people, they buy up the best properties, and then that filters down to what's left over to the people that have less. But in Oregon, we have the urban growth boundary. And so we artificially limit how much land we have for housing in our cities in order to keep our farmland and our forest land protected. And so that's the first restraint when it comes to creating inventory. I'd say the biggest thing though is builders are commodity driven. So we only build if we have buyers on the back end. And the biggest change to our inventory shortage right now comes from lending changes. And so builders used to, hey, you have a 100 unit subdivision, you go get a loan for 100 houses, and you go build 100 houses and you sell 100 houses.
Spec build them.
Yeah, and lenders don't allow that anymore. You got 100 houses to build, we'll give you a loan for 15. You sell 10 of them, we'll give you another loan for 10. And so we cannot produce as fast because the capital side of it is restrictive, because it's been seen as a risky commodity.
So what are some solutions? You said farmland is really restrictive, and we had the governor, I think Betsy, she was running, she wanted to just open up the floodgates and say, let's build on this farmland. Yep. We've seen some legislation go through Portland recently. They've removed all permits on building new construction. Do you see this as actual solutions?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me as a builder, it costs about $250,000 to build a unit. Your entry level unit's about $250,000. Our impact fees at the city are $25,000 on average. So 10% of our cost just goes to the right to build, and that doesn't include permit fees. So we have permit fees on top of that $25,000. And so the city is at a point where we're in the back end of a construction boom. We don't have a shortage of housing right now. We have a shortage of affordable housing. We have no shortage of market rate housing. But if you run out of market rate housing, that puts strain on the affordable housing.
So you're relocating from out of state, watching this. What would you suggest as a developer who's seeing this stuff play out? Would you say buy a home, relocate, buy the home? Or what would your advice be?
I would say this. We are in a land constrained area. We do have cycles. You sell a lot of real estate. Would you rather be a buyer right now or a seller?
I would probably rather be a buyer right now.
Absolutely. I am a seller all the time. I am a buyer all the time. I'm a bipolar human being. I am nearly suicidal as a seller, and I'm as excited as I can be as a buyer. So that being said, right now is the best time to buy. It's the best time to buy that we've seen since I started aggressively buying real estate 15 years ago. Your value is based on your monthly mortgage payment. And if our monthly mortgage payment is elevated because of interest rates, houses have to come down in price in order to sell. And the first way we saw that was frothy was a word we used on values in the end of COVID, kind of through 2021, especially from the fall of 2021 till May of 2022, a lot of froth came into the market. And when interest rates went up immediately from May 2022 to November of 2022, all the appreciation from November to May of 21 to 22, which was like 10%, evaporated. And then ever since that froth came off the market, our values have been flat to slightly increasing. No one's offering full price. Very rare, unless it's priced low, unless you're in a location that doesn't have a lot of inventory, you don't have competition. Buyers are not offering full price, and you actually get in negotiations. And if you're a buyer and you're offering full price, you're not doing your job right. If you're a buyer and not asking for something after your repair addendum, you're not doing your job right.
Right.
Because those are your leverage points, those are your negotiation points, and they exist. And so if you want to buy and you're going to be here for 3-5 years, go buy a house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it from the developer here. We're going to get back to the desk to go over some numbers to see what makes Portland the epicenter of this housing crisis and go over some deals.
Talking with Mike, the developer, made me want to actually look into the data myself. So I poured over several reports, and what I found in the data shocked me. Now, Mike is correct that home buyers are getting deals in this market. If you're looking to buy a home, reach down right here. But what still confuses me is that if I see a home for sale on, let's say, Facebook, I'll often see a laugh reaction, and sometimes I'm not sure if that's somebody laughing or really crying inside, because housing is still very unaffordable. And so what these reports I'm about to show you really go over is going to detail why Portland is at the eye of the storm and what it means to you if you're looking at buying a home in the Pacific Northwest in the near future. So one of the groundbreaking reports that I found, and this is before COVID even, before the housing market really shot up 40 or 50%, this shocking report is going to detail why housing is still unaffordable in Portland and then how things are slowly getting better. So this entire report goes over 4 different factors about housing. The first is vacancy rate versus historic vacancy rate. So how much worse has vacancy got over the years? It then gets into missing houses due to high housing costs. So now you're talking about like families that didn't purchase a home. You're talking about kids living in mom's basement. There's ways to kind of account for what are happening to these people and are they actually moving forward on a home purchase. You then have a housing stock deficit that shows that Portland's one of the worst. We're talking supply and demand here on a basic level. And then the fourth one is in proportion to the migration flows. So you're talking about who's leaving and who's coming in. And that pins Portland at a 9.23, higher than any other state and just behind Washington, D.C. But their conclusion even highlights that places like Oregon have passed legislation to eliminate single-family zoning. So this has actually created what is now a huge new development sprawl that will be taking place in Portland from 2025 to 2028, a very small blip where some fresh inventory is going to get thrown in. It really is supply and demand. It's these builders that are not building as fast as we need to. And now we're looking at one of the most recent reports, which is the MLS report that I can see as a real estate agent on the Portland Metro housing. And what we're going to go back to is a current price action dating back to July of 2004. So before the crash. And as we're going over this housing graph, you'll see that obviously the recession was one of the few times in housing history that prices ever significantly deflated. You'll see up into 2021, 2022, housing prices peaked, and then we let off some steam into 2022, and then it's kind of slowly been going up since there. And the unfortunate statistic from all of this is that unaffordability has kind of remained since that low interest rates disappeared. You know, there's about just over 80% of the population can afford the average priced home in Portland. There are massive plans underway to develop the current land that we do have in the urban sprawl. We're building new construction, we're building up, we're building really high density. You're seeing it all over the city, so new construction is gonna be a thing in the Portland proper area. But these reports are highlighting that Portland still remains a very contained city, where if you purchase a home, you can anticipate the equity to continue building. It has nothing to do with what you might see in the Fox News or any clickbaity stuff that will tell you, look, this place is getting blown to smithereens, it's on fire, it's whatever. I do want to educate you on what's really going on, and that is if you are holding real estate in the Portland, Vancouver area, you're definitely going to be closed in by the greenery. And with that, you're going to have a massive equity boom coming, a very steady equity boom, I should say, from holding your real estate for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So if you're thinking about moving to Portland or Vancouver, you definitely should be thinking, man, should I rent or should I buy a home? And if your plans are to be here for more than 5, 6, 7, 8 years, come stay for a little bit, do a short-term rental, whatever it takes to get your feet wet. And then we can have a conversation to see if purchasing a home in our great Pacific Northwest market is something that you should consider in all the arsenals and the options. I'm happy to have a phone call, a Zoom consultation, or we can grab coffee at one of Portland or Vancouver's great coffee shops and chat about if buying a home in this Portland and Vancouver real estate market is right for you. I just helped 4 people this week. I'm helping people from all over the United States, still help get them deep discounts on the kind of baby giant Pacific Northwest town that has not quite been discovered yet. Portland really has ducked under the radars, but you have seen those prices slowly creep back up from the COVID highs due to our locked in inventory. And so while new inventory and fresh new construction is coming to you soon, if you are looking for new construction, I would say that between now and 2028 is the time to lock in and purchase your piece of Pacific Northwest real estate if you're thinking about doing it. Let's have that conversation. Watch this video next, and I'll see you next week.